Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ball Watching. Justin, it's been a week. It's been a weekend. Tough match with the boys on the road. And we've got a lot to talk about today with our first multi match week, right, of the season. So, a lot coming up here, Justin, here. But we're here on a Tuesday night. We're in the wake of a awful, just gut wrenching Game 7 Blues loss. And we need something to believe in here in St. Louis. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, Jake. Well, I don't know if we'll talk about City, if there's a lot to believe in. Hopefully this game coming up tomorrow night will give us a little bit to be excited about. But God, that Blues game hurt. That was, you've seen people talking about like it's going to go down as like one of the most it's going to go as like an instant classic for the NHL. And unfortunately, we're on the wrong side of that. A couple small plays away. You've talked about it in previous episodes. I think if Booch doesn't try to just ice that puck or try to shoot it and he tries to skate it out, we're in the next series. But a lot of different things we can talk about. I just feel bad for the puck watching boys watching that recap from them. That was depressing.
Dude, I'm gonna text him after this because I listened to the first couple of minutes there, and your vibes are down, man. Vibes are down. We've got some really bummed out puck watchers, and I felt for them. I really did. I mean, that would be devastating, Justin. Like if we went into a series, we limped into the playoffs, we had great momentum, like we finished heroically squeezed in, only just get bucked in the first round. It'd be devastating.
I mean, Jake, we're kind of on pace for that right
We
now.
are. We are.
At this point, that sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take it. Right. It looks pretty bleak right now. And one of those big reasons, Justin, obviously, is around injuries. We did get a breath of fresh air, some great positive news as Leuven returned to the match day squad and actually got thrown into the match. I thought very surprising. Got to think his fitness is not up to where he wants it to be yet, but he only had a short cameo. But it was still good to see him back. And Justin, I was combing the pregame press conference for Union Omaha to try to get some injury news. I didn't see too much out there, so I'm not expecting to see anyone fully returning like a Berkey, Alm, Reed, Totland. I know Alm got some minutes with City 2 over the weekend, which is great, but I don't really see any action with our guys like Kessler or Durkin either.
No, I don't think so. I think this is one where, you try to get, this is where we talked about with Kalis, like the guys that you haven't typically seen. This is where you're going to get them some minutes. And I don't think we're throwing the full B squad in there, but it's also not a reason just to throw guys that have been injured out there with a chance to get injured again. So we'll talk about the starting 11s. I think we talked about this in the green room. I think the Wednesday game and then straight into a Saturday game. And then we know next Wednesday with Sporting Kansas City, a lot of moving parts, especially with these injuries. And it's going to be kind of fun for us to play with starting 11.
Agreed. Well, starting 11, let's get into it, Justin, here for this past match away in Seattle. You saw a lineup of Lund in between the sticks, probably getting to one of his last couple games here now in this stint before Berkey returns. You had Wallem, Horn, Baumgartel, Yarrow, Hebert across your back five left to right. You saw Ostrock come back into the 11, Watts get pushed into the middle of the field. And then you saw Hartel, Teuscher supporting Klaus up top. Any big surprises there, Justin? To me, not really.
No, I would say I still can't believe that we keep doing the triangle of death there with the Watts, Hebert, and Yarrow. Everybody keeps talking about Zelensky. Are we ever going to get that there? Or is there a way to move Ostrock over, move Hartel back, and then bring in a Celia or a Betcher? I just think that at some point we need to, with us being this injured, we need to play the best players. And I'm just not seeing that. I know we're probably playing the best guys at their position, but I think some of these guys that are better ball players can play those positions at just as good of a level.
And you mentioned the triangle of death, and I think when the triangle of death sits on the right, which is whenever the triangle of death usually occurs on the right, you are going to be tilting almost all of your attack to the left, because to the right is where the ball goes to die. To the left is where we get life in us, and that is usually courtesy of a Conrad Wallem or Marcel Hartel, or God love it, a combination between the two. That seems to drive a lot of our offensive service. And then you also see a guy like Horn, our left center back in the match, step up, and he can provide some really great quality service from deep as well. So the left to the left, that's where our whole offense goes right now, especially when that triangle is in place.
And the reason, Jake, that we bring up the triangle death, big shout out to our buddy Chat City Tactics. Here's the tweet. He said, if you ever wanted to look at an image more representing of St. Louis City's triangle of death, look no further. Two different triangles on display. The left, we actually see a triangle on the right. And then look at this. It's like there is the triangle, and that means that the ball is being played, and it's the amount of passes that are happening between these players as opposed to the right side. Like, I don't know what is what is looks like chaos.
Absolutely brutal. And the other thing, Justin, on that too, so progression stunted way down the right. I also think that is also a target as well to target for teams that side of the area for us to exploit. The triangle of death, obviously, one thing. I also think those guys, while they can't pass, they also don't do a great job, like I said, under pressure. So dribbling out of pressure, even I got the passes as well. They cough up the ball. I seem to notice a lot of too, and you can see teams kind of targeting or closing or having pressing triggers, kind of centered around the area of the pitch as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's not even like you said to where we're going forward, but then it actually hurts us in the sense that they don't need to when we're trying to go forward as well because they cannot pass and cannot hold on to the ball. When you see Hartel get the ball and look that way, he's not dishing it out that side, which means then that Seattle and any other team we play against knows this, and they can be more heavily defending on the right side, which would be our left side, but when they're facing us on the right. And that's just one thing that just completely shifts the tilt of the field. And if they know that, then we're trying to attack down a single sideline, and they're doubling, tripling guys, and it's just not possible.
I agree. What did you think about positioning, Justin, of our back line in this match? And this is not something that's just native to this match, but something I noticed a lot of when I was rewatching this match. And it was the amount of space between our back line and our forward line. The midfield is gaping. It's wide open. You've got two people that really man that area, and it's not enough for how much space is left there. Even when we do win the ball, I still feel like we have so many numbers back that it makes us so difficult to transition quickly. You might have Klaus downfield, but like no one's there on their horse to support him because guys like Toy Shirt, Hartel, that's not what they bring to the game. So I think it's hamstringing us both defensively and also really kind of stifling our attack.
It's more, in my opinion, on the defensive side, and this is where you'll see a lot of our goals come into play. And if you want to see it on a smaller bite-sized piece, we can talk about the goals later in this game, but goals that have already happened is when our defensive line drops too heavy, and then they have a cutback ball, either top of the PK, top of the 18, and that's where we're missing. And I wouldn't say it's all on our midfielders, but we need to condense that space. And that means bringing up your center backs into a higher line to be in a smaller space, and then everybody dropping in a similar motion together so that you keep that space. And right now, it seems like the way AJ brought it up, we're dropping back, we're getting to the 6-yard line, but then we're not having that communication with our midfielders. They're outside of the box, which leaves us from the 6-yard line to the top of the box wide open. And that's where we're seeing these 5-6 yard circles on these strikers that are just shooting point blank on Lund.
Quality danger chances. No, absolutely. Let's talk about a highlight, Justin. I mean, our goal. So here's the story that I took away on this goal. So Seattle was in their high press. Hartel for us was dropping deep to try to connect play, and Horn kind of getting pushed upfield as a result. Horn couldn't get to one of the passes that he played, but he jockeyed Christian Roldan or Alex Roldan enough to kind of have him cough it up. And I think Seattle probably expected that foul to be called. But anyways, Hartel plays Wallem through, who streaks through 1v1 versus Roldan now. And I thought showed some awesome strength and poise on the ball and was able to get that upfield into Toy Shirt. Toy Shirt dribbles in the box, draws a PK. PK, I think, was pretty soft contact, but I also still probably think a PK, it is minimal, but it's dangerous and it definitely throws Toy Shirt off. I think he also made the most of it. But Hartel steps up and just buries this one, does a little stutter step, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, and you're up 1-0 at the 30-minute mark.
And you got to hold on to it. You got to be able to get out of there and get points. The one thing I will say on that, Jake, though, too, I think that was a PK. I think that was great touches by Toy Shirt going down the line. And if you look, he can read when the defender's about to make a lunge in, and he gets his foot in between there.
Yeah.
And the defender was going to make contact with the ball, but he purposely got that in there. The defender did not touch the ball whatsoever. Yeah. I think it was a little stronger of a PK than what we gave up, 30 minutes later?
Right. Yeah. Frustrating to give that PK up. I mean, basically, what I want to pause to, Justin, before we go on to their goals is that first period, like if you measured like hockey, like 3 periods in a game, that first period for me was like, that was a competitive period. They had some chances. We had some chances. We made the most of that PK. It was a fairly competitive game. And I feel like after that, it really, really wasn't because there are some tough goals we conceded on the night.
No, I mean that's where I don't do just want to get straight into the goals because I
Let's
feel
do
like
it. Let's do it.
there's absolutely plenty to talk about. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the first one, Jake. So on their PK more specifically, and then I think this is one where if you can't see it visually, then I think just you should go back and rewatch this. And it's extremely frustrating the multiple times I watched it. One, ball gets played in, and I do think that we have Baumgartel coming out and doing well and coming across the back line and taking on the defender. That's a great job. However, we see Yarrow kind of veer off into the guy that Baumgartel originally had good communication there. My biggest complaint here, and Jake, I'm going to do the Game of Thrones. Shame on Kyle Hebert coming in way too hot on a guy that Baumgartel already has contained. He comes in so hot that he's coming from the middle, allows the defender to then cut back. Kyle's then in the way of Baumgartel, which then causes him to do like a little stutter step, and he starts getting his weight leaning forward, and then ultimately runs into the guy and gives him PK. So on this first one, Jake, I'm going shame on Mr. Kyle Hebert.
Oh, I love the reference. Well, let's get out some more shame while you have some. Do you have any left, Justin, in your tool belt?
Oh yeah, Jake, we got plenty of shame. Sorry, I'm kind of running through these on the side as well because I feel like it's way too much to try to do live with videos. But then also on their second goal in the 61st, we lose the ball off a goal kick. Seattle makes some tidy quick passes. And the one thing that I'm going to do absolute shame on this one is Mr. Akil Watts. He's the one defending the midfielder. He sees the little slip pass go by him, and instead of then tracking his runner, he tries to lunge and make the stop, and he's way off by a good yard and a half. And then he does not track his runner back, and his runner is actually the one that ends up scoring the goal. I think Baumgartel does well to get across, puts his arm behind his back, tries to make a deflection, ultimately goes in the back of the net. Unlucky deflection, but I think that one's on Mr. Akil Watts for our second goal. So shame on you, Mr. Akil Watts. And now we're down 2-1 in the 61st minute.
Yep, and showing no signs of any sort of fight, whatsoever. This just feels like it's an impending doom at this point. But in the 81st minute, Danny Musovski is allowed to legitimately receive a cross in the box, turn his body around, and shoot before anyone can get even close to him. And now you're looking down the barrel of 3-1. Things look to be going off the rails, quite honestly.
On this one, Jake, I have just shame all over on this. But one, starting again with Akil Watts. I'm sorry, man, but on this one, if anybody wants to go back and watch it, he acts like this weak cross is a bullet from the Matrix, and he has to get out of the way. He literally touches earth. He got crossed up so bad by a 5-mile-per-hour cross. Touches earth. Nilsson also allowing Muscoffi to make the run in behind 2 minutes prior is the reason that we have the ball even down here, which then leads to a Seattle corner, keeping it there. And then on the goal, Nilsson does a huge lunge once the cross comes across. If you're lunging in the 18, you need to win the ball, because if you don't, you're completely out of position. If he doesn't lunge there, he's just defending this guy. If the guy even tries to get a shot off, he's going to block it. No goal if you don't lunge there. And then lastly, on this one, communication was extremely lacking. If you have a freeze frame right before the final cross, Horn lets his man go into Nilsson's. Now Nilsson has two guys on him as well. Wallam's not tracking on the back post for Georgie, and then who, if they wanted to play it long into the back post, he would have been wide open. And then also Hartel. This is one of those ones, and I'm going to have to call him out again later, sorry. But he is just jogging when there is a player within 5-yard circle around him with no one there, number 77 for them, and just wide open. I think that's one of those ones where we're really starting to see the lack of communication between our back line and our center mids, as we already kind of started this pod with. And I think that's where it's actually showing, Jake, is because we're missing Roman Berkey. I do not think that he's going to allow this to happen. And he's been seeing this in the film room for the last couple of weeks. I think if you put him in the back, he's going to be the one directing these guys, telling them where to step, where to slide in, and we're going to see less of these marking errors.
I like that take. I like the take with Roman Berkey, because I think some people might, and I would be remiss to say that, maybe they've forgotten about him a little bit and what he brings to the table, because it has been a while, and Lund has acquitted himself relatively well. We haven't been miserable. People might be wondering, what's the type of lift you can expect from getting the MLS best goalkeeper back into the swing of things, back with his distribution, his game-breaking saves. I like the suggestion that maybe we're getting a lot more back when he returns.
Yeah, we need it, because I'm going to bring up another one, Jake. It wasn't even a goal, but in the 89th minute, I know Hartel had a pretty solid game, but Jesus, there was a light run coming from the midfield. Hartel's at the top of the 18. He sees the runner coming, and I don't know if he's gassed or if he doesn't care, both. Just lets him slide in right behind him, throws his foot up to try to see if he can deflect it. Doesn't, then doesn't track back, and Lute has to make a point blank save on that as well. That was in the 89th. And then right after that, 2 minutes later, we gave up one more goal. On this one, Jake, this one just hurts as well. I think it's a little bit trickier to try to give shame here, but I'm actually going to give it to Mr. Akil Watts, because he was also marking his guy correctly, and he was literally tugging on his jersey, and I'm like, hell yeah, brother, I love it. And then right when the guy gets past Simon Betcher, Akil just leaves him slide into the 6. His man isn't the one that scored, but if he was the one that was tracking back and tracking on his man, he would have cut out the pass for the wide open guy right at the top of the 6. I don't know who else could have been there. I don't even know if we expect Wallum to step up. But on that one, Jake, we also have our back line, all three of us 2 yards off of the goal line with no one in between. So it's just a similar theme throughout.
Jeez.
Frustrating goals.
Absolutely. Compounding, a lot of individual errors you think you're seeing out there. At least you hope they're individual errors or lapses and not a product of what the system is here. But the fresh blood was for the game. In the 62nd minute, Joyner came in for Ostrak. 69, Betcher came in for Klaus. We had Nilsson come in for Yarrow. Leuven made his appearance for Teujert. And in the 76th minute, Silva made his debut for Hebert. I wasn't necessarily impressed by anyone. There wasn't a huge sample to really look at for a lot of these guys. I do want to see more of Silva, and I think we're going to get some of that this week.
Absolutely. I think Silva is going to be a guy that, I would hope, Jake, especially in this game tomorrow. I think that's a guy that's fresh and could use time to try to get a little bit of an atmosphere and a chemistry out of the guys here. But the one thing I also want to touch on this, Jake, before we go into the stats, is we had someone reach out. I should have had the name up, asking us about the handball and the VAR that ultimately was then not called a handball. It was Alec. Alex says, curious, you guys, on your post-match pod. Would love to hear some more about this handball discussion. So on this one, Jake, Jesus, I am getting blown up. Now, look my text, because we got a text from George. He says, hey, guys, a couple of things. For me, this is a handball. However, this is one of those that they'll say no defender wants to commit to handling offense in the penalty area, with the exception of really wanting to in order to stop the ball from entering the net. That, and the defender is starting to move his arm away from the ball, which in this case is minimal at best, but they're almost always going to give the benefit of the doubt. The offsides occurred after the potential handball offense. So ultimately, it was not the handball that called off it was not the offsides that called off the handball. It was just that they didn't think that it truly was a handball, which is pretty shocking to me and shocking to George as well.
I agree. Fully agree with that as well. Yeah. Interesting referees, man, draw different lines in different ways. It's always fun to see which one you roll the dice and get on the match day. But Justin, stats were bleeding green across most of every single important category you can think of from an attacking perspective. XG, shots, shots inside, outside the box, passes. Pretty much, we were just second best every minute after the half-hour mark for me. If I had to highlight a person, Justin, I think we both kind of already alluded to it, but Hartel was probably the best of the worst. And what was a pretty poor day for performances. He did create almost 1 XG on his own, which was 90% of what we created on the day.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be Hartel for me as well. But the one thing I do want to say is, Leuven, welcome back, sir. I am just so happy to see him back on the field.
Love it.
The last one I will say as well, Jake, is that I honestly think that Ben Lund didn't have that terrible game. If you go back and look at these goals, and I know people are like, oh, we gave up 4 goals. Like, how can you say this? I don't think Ben Lund is expected to save any of those. And if you go back, what was it, like the 4th minute? He had that. He was kind of a 1-1 save just on the inside of his heel. Yep. Great save by him. So in total, he had 4 saves on this game, and I would say a couple of them were extremely impressive. The other one where Nilsson let the guy slip in right before their goal in the 89th, I think it was. That was another point blank range save by him. So I don't think Ben did that terrible in this game.
I don't think he did terrible. I will say though, if you want to be the guy, maybe one of those can't go in. You keep your team in the game, but that'd be me being a little bit harsh. But like that's the difference between like him and a Berkey for me, right? Like solid, does what's expected, pretty safe on the ball, off the ball, smart, making the plays you need, but not necessarily those top bends, point blank things like you see from Berkey, or the distribution that helps us get into attack as well.
Yeah, definitely not trying to argue him for player of the match, but I do wanted to call out that I think that he had some impressive saves there, and I thought that he did fine. But I think the whole thing on this is that we are continuing to just be left wide open, either a marking aspect or out of position, and I truly hope, and I actually do think that a lot of that will come back with Roman Berkey and being that director back there. I think that's a lot of off the stat sheet stuff that you just don't see, and I'm excited to have him back.
He's just such a safe set of hands, and I feel safe, Justin, with our presenting partner for 2025, Hoffman Brothers. Justin, I told my story last week, right? I talked about my last tune-up that I had, and I want to do the follow-up here, part dos. So after that, I mentioned to you all that I got a couple of quotes. I reviewed them with my wife, talked over what probably took the most priority for us, and they give us a 15% discount on services when you're in the home protection plan, which is awesome. Makes things a little more stomachable for sure. And really for us, it was options. It was in notes that come with them. Like, this is what I think, this is why, and blah, blah, blah. So it takes all the thinking out of it and really makes it pretty clear for us. I made the call in, signed up for some services, and I'll be getting got a new condenser, I think a new capacitor installed onto my AC unit. It'll really make sure my main floor stays good while, especially my kids are down here, which is awesome. So it's a hell of an investment, man. I am always convinced by everyone at Hoffman Brothers. They're great people.
Hoffman Brothers are fantastic, and if you guys haven't already, I think this is the time to do it, because I just had a little golf tournament outside today, Jake, and it's
starting to
get a little toasty out there. Anyway, yeah, look at you at the allergy.
Allergies are not good, bro. Like I was outside. Will wanted to go to the playground, so we were outside like the 40 minutes before this, and your boy did not take Zyrtec today.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't already, you need to call Hoffman Brothers 314-664-3011 or visit them at hoffmanbros.com for that white glove service, and they will be immediately out to you. You'll see it whenever we post it. I mean, it's pretty much every morning now that we are just seeing them up and at them prior to 8 a.m., just going out and doing the business. So I'm very, very happy with our sponsorship from the Hoffman Brothers.
And you all do too. If you see them, tag us in stories. It's actually kind of funny. Justin and I send them to each other sometimes. But let's crack into some previews here, Justin. We got 2 matches this week, not 1, but 2. And first, we are back in the U.S. Open Cup playing against the team we actually kicked off our U.S. Open Cup run in 2023 with, as the Union Omaha come to visit St. Louis and Energizer Park. It's an exciting time to be playing this team. You know, you're looking at it as a good opportunity, hopefully, maybe see some players you didn't get to see a lot of or who are coming back getting some minutes. But like I said, Justin, we do have history. We gave him a nice little spanking 5-1 at home in 2023. Aziel Jackson, that was to me one of his like emergence games.
Right. He did fantastic. Then so he had I think it was our first goal and like our third goal. Then they had known goal, and then we also had a Watson Lubin goal in this. So that was an absolute spanking for them. And then obviously with us not playing them last year, what did they do last year? Apparently they just got hot, and they won the league in 2024, both the regular season and the playoffs. However, Pedro Dolabella, who also scored in us in 2023, their leading goal scorer last season with 11 goals and 4 assists, is now on the second tier side, North Carolina FC. So that is a bonus for us that they are literally missing their highest goal contribution starter from last season as well. But in 2025, they're off to a little bit of a slow start in their regular season. USL League One regular season, they have 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 draw for 4 points. That puts them in 12th place. However, I was looking at this, Jake. That's 5 games they played. All 5 have been on the road. Yeah. I don't know who did that scheduling. That is absolutely terrible for them. So, but they also have a very similar storyline to us. They've only scored 3 goals this season so far, and they all came in 1 game. Otherwise, they've been shut out in the other 4 or 5 matches. Seems a little bit too similar for us.
Yeah, and I'm going to call it too. Justin, you mentioned the second tier guy that went up. So this is a 3rd tier team. This is USL League One. It's not USL Championship. That's the league that sits between USL League One and MLS in terms of division status for U.S. Soccer Federation. So remember, USL now is trying to add a USL Division One to compete at the same top of the tier or the pyramid as MLS is. So, you know, that would complete all your 3, but this is Union Omaha that sits actually 2 levels below us. And that's not to say or take anything from them. We do have some things we're going to mention with them. They're playing more of a back 3, back 5 type defensive setup. This is a team that can definitely possess the ball, pretty comfortable in doing so and being able to build up. They're going to make you work for it when you have the ball. They're going to be aggressive pressing, maybe a little bit like we saw last week with Seattle. And there's 2 people, Justin, we wanted to mention at least. One, a familiar face in Max Schneider, who is a central defensive midfielder for them. Former City 2 guy, has one of the team's 3 goals in their regular season play so far this season, and he's been a pretty important player for them. But he is permanently now at Union Omaha.
Sorry, Jake. I was trying to pull up in this tiers thing just to kind of give people like a visual on this. Here, I think I got it. Yeah, so if you have the MLS at the top, Then underneath of that is the USL Championship. Is this all still like current, Jake? Because I don't even think
Yep. That's right.
fully got it. And then underneath of that is USL League One, the NISA, and MLS Next Pro. And then below that is USL 2 and some other stuff.
Yep.
And then I don't even know that we went down to whatever's going on down here.
Yeah. But that's CYC.
Yeah, that's grade school soccer that's down here. Like that's literally what we could be playing in right now. But it is interesting, and that's where you'll see a lot of these conversations. I'm sure it'll be a part of the broadcast as well, that people are talking about trying to make this like a promotion relegation system. I don't think I know the MLS will never be on board for that, because why would they? You're top dog. You're creating the most revenue. We have the Apple deals, but I could see that starting to happen with these kind of league or tier 2, 3, 4 squads as well.
Yeah, it'd be something. It'd be something, man. Last other thing, another player for Union Omaha, Joe Gallardo, is a right winger for them. Look for him to be really threatening. Can play as a winger, wing back, center forward as well. He had 7 goals, 6 assists, and created 43 chances last year in USL League One. Led the league, or tied for second at least in the chances created. He was the Finals MVP that year as well. So I think this is a guy. If anyone you want to look out for Joe Gallardo.
And the one thing I do want to say, Jake, you didn't. So I know I was kind of maybe I blanked out earlier. You didn't talk about their first 3 wins. So how they got here. So they have in the first. So this is the 4th round of the U.S. Open Cup. So this team, even though they're 1-2-1 in the regular season in the USL, they have won 3 games in a row in U.S. Open Cup. Round 1, 2-1 versus the Flatirons Rush. Don't know what that is. Round 2, 2-1 dub over the Des Moines Menace. And I'm like, why do I know this name? And I looked this up. This is washed up FC, dude. AJ De La Garza, 37 years old. Dax McCarty, 38 years old. Sasha Kleshchin, 39 years old. Benny Failhaber, 40 years old. Bradley Wright Phillips, 40 years old. And somehow, funny enough, the way that team got to play this team, they beat Sporting Kansas City 2 in round 1.
Blast, dude.
That's absolutely fantastic. But don't like Bradley Wright Phillips and Sasha work for Apple?
They're all Apple guys. Like 4 of them, those guys are Apple guys.
Where's the Des Moines Menace?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm so confused. And then they beat San Antonio FC 1-0 in round 3. So then they got to play us this coming Wednesday.
2 things. Love Sporting KC getting in the news for that kind of stuff. It's amazing. They just obviously this past weekend, for them didn't see, they won a game against the Galaxy without ever registering a shot on goal. So yes, it was an own goal. That was their goal. It's the first time it's ever happened in the MLS. So congratulations to them, really showing some great improvements. I want to say, Justin, the thing I want to get to here is just my overarching theme with US Open Cup is do not take this lightly. You might do some rotation with the team, but whatever you're going to look at, you're going to look in the barrel of someone that really wants it, and especially a team like Union Omaha, and they will punish you if you overlook them. So you've got to go and do your business here. This is not going to be a walk in the park, but this is a chance to win some fans over, show some signs of improvement, and score some freaking goals.
And this is going to be one, Jake, that I don't think is going to be that easy, to be honest. Yes, it's a lower tier team, but looking at the way they've lined up in these past couple games, they're going 5 in the back with 4 in front, with 1 in front of that. So it's like they're buckling down, and we've been struggling to score. And I feel like they're probably going to do the same thing. They're going to try to get to halftime tied 0-0, and then they're going to try to pounce on us and just look for a turnover and a quick, they're going to have a shifty guy that can just take it and go straight down our throat and have a nice finish. So like you said, Jake, I don't think this is one that won the team. I know that we're not going to overlook this, because right now everybody's trying to fight for a starting position and trying to get something moving in this locker room, and we need to win this game tomorrow night. And I think the fans need to be behind us as well. I was seeing tweets today that we're expecting 6,000 fans. Yeah. I understand they didn't open up the upper bowl, whatever. Let's pack it. Congrats to City too for setting another MLS Next Pro record, over 12,000 at the home game. But why can't we do that again on this Wednesday? I really do love that we're supporting City 2 because they're doing so well. But it looks pretty crappy, honestly, in my opinion, if you're not going to support the first team just because they're not doing as well.
Hey, all we can do is our part. So the boys will be there. We repping, showing the return to US Open Cup. And super exciting. I think a good way to get your season on track starting this week. Win that game and get ready to welcome San Diego, a top team right now in the West and MLS, to town for a tough battle. We already had a 0-0 draw with them away from home in San Diego for their first ever home game. I believe that was a Sunday night soccer game, if I'm not mistaken. We saw, remember, Justin just got onslaught in the beginning of that game, but couldn't do much to relieve pressure. We were really stingy. We had 2 shots, both on target, had a really low XG in that game. They had 15 shots, but only 1 on target. We really just kind of hunkered back and let it come, but we did not break.
We did not break, but I am shocked because we completed 215 passes compared to their 629. Like, I know we're not expected to be a team that's passing that much, or we weren't in the first season and a half of our existence. But this season, I thought, like, oh, maybe we'll do it. No, we just hunkered down. We knew what we were in for that night. But this team has been actually pretty solid ever since then as well. They're currently 4th in the Western Conference on 17 points with a 5-4-2 win-loss draw, 21 goals for, 15 goals against, so their +6 goal differential. More specifically, their win-loss draw away is 2-3-0. And it's kind of funny because they won their first 2 away games. The first one being at the LA Galaxy on the MLS season opener. And that was the first time that Galaxy had lost since like 2023. But then they've lost. So now San Diego, after winning their first 2 away games, has lost their last 3 away games. So what are some of the big results that we would like to call out for them this regular season? They did have a 1-1 draw versus Columbus, who is number 1 in the East. They had a 3-0 win versus Seattle, which is obviously a team that we just got trounced by. They had a 3-2 dub versus LAFC, which is a team that we drew 2-2. And then last weekend, just an absolute 5-0 thrashing of the FC Dallas with 4 different goal scorers for San Diego. So a team that's coming in pretty hot.
They are, and man, they gave us so much trouble in that last game. And I know we hung on for dear life, but remember the feeling of that game. It was super high energy. It felt back and forth. They pressed us so hard, and when they did get turnovers on our end, they would just attack with quick transitions, looking for Lozano over the top, and just very nervy moments there. They're going to really try to disrupt our own build-up and capitalize on any turnovers we cough up in our own third. But look at the stars, really, for me, when you think about San Diego. They have a good strong midfield with Godoy, who we also saw break our lines plenty of times that last match. But Lozano and Dreyer are proving to be pretty solid partnership, a good tandem, and they're causing a lot of damage between the center and the left channels, and really providing a lot of the goal contributions that you would look for in a team that's going to go places in a season.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this team with their XG, they have the 5th most XG in the MLS, number 12 when they're at home, and then also top 10 at least, top 10 least XG against.
Yes,
so hard. Yes, that was a lot. That was a mouthful. And 6th best when they were at home as well. So they are better in the beginnings or the endings. In the first half, they're number 18 in points per game in the first half. So this is one of those teams that is we're trying to find like some stats where it's like, where are they really strong at? Where are they weak at? Right. And honestly, they're just steadily around the top 10 whenever I was looking at this, Jake, and most of their stats. And these key players that you already kind of alluded to are dirty.
Yeah.
And also a hot start.
You got Chucky or Irving Lozano, the club's first DP, 29-year-old Mexican. We all know him. He came from PSV. 4 goals, 6 assists in the season. Been very effective for them. Anders Dreyer, the only other DP on the squad right now, so they have a space for another one. 26-year-old lefty, signed for $5 million from Anderlecht in Belgium, and now he's got 4 goals, 5 assists on this season, starting all their games. This Onai Valakari, 25-year-old Finnish midfielder, who had some big amount of matches last year, and was on Finland's Euro squad in 2020. So obviously a proven veteran in some respected circles. He's got, look at this, 3 goals, 5 assists you got contributions, Justin, all over the pitch. They're balanced. It is a good sign for an expansion team.
It really is. It's one of those where like we started off hot on our expansion season with 5 straight wins. This seems like a team that is just a little bit more built for the long run. I think we had a nice spark, and I really appreciate it. That was a ton of fun for us. But this team is deep, and they have some deep pockets. I mean, they've been kind of in the discussion with Kevin De Bruyne, which obviously it seems now like he might be going to Chicago. But this is also a team like San Diego. They're the San Diego, the LA, the New York, the Miami, where they could land one of these guys. I would not be surprised if they land another big signing. They've been kind of holding out for the De Bruyne signing, and now that he's going to seem to be shifting away, maybe they try to look into a little Griezmann or anything like that. So this is a team that's deep, and from an injuries perspective, they have 2 dudes that are injured, on Andreas Reyes and Marcus and Vergasten, and I'm pretty sure combined they only have like 180 minutes on season, so nothing to be worried about there. But Jake, I'm a little bit more worried about who we're going to be starting in this game, so I'm going to bring us into the Hoffman brothers starting 11. I played the new one, so it
You did.
was
You
quieter.
got it. You got it. Yeah, Justin, let's have some fun here. I mean, U.S. Open Cup. This is the first one, and then we'll go back into the starting 11 for the second one. But the first one, I've got pretty big changes, mostly up top. I've got Celio on the left, Betcher up top in the middle, Silva on the right. Give me Liberty out there, man. It's going to be fun. We got some different, fun-looking wingers. Let's see what they can do against a back line you can probably exploit. And Betcher, let's see if you can just be a dog. It's going to be a dog fight out there. They're going to be physical, and he's a good specimen to get up top if you're me.
I think this is a perfect game to throw Betcher in there, and I would love to see a little combination with Celio and Silva on opposite wings because that just seems terrorizing, in my opinion. If you're a wing backs with the pace on both of those guys, so starting a little backwards, Jake, we'll work our way backwards then from the front three, and then I'm going to go. I think it's, and I agree with you here, just Ostrak and Morales holding in front of our back five. So then looking at the back five from left to right, Wallum, Nilsson, Wenzel, Baumgartner, Zelensky. So giving Yarrow and Hebert some rest there. Yep. And then we'll see. I wouldn't like Baumgartner could probably use a rest as well, but also we're a little bit, I don't want to use the word hamstrung because God, that just seems like a bad thing to be using when we're talking about defense here. But I mean, what else are we going to do there? Like Horn needs a rest. You don't want to throw Totlin in there when he's coming off of an injury. So I'm pretty good with the Wallum, Nilsson, Wenzel, Baumgartner, Zelensky. And then Jake, goalkeeper?
Yeah, I still think you stick with Lund here because here's my deal with this. Like I said earlier in the show, he's got a short leash left in the season with Berkey returning here imminently. This should be his competition. If we win this game, I want Lund to play in net, and he'll hand over the reins either this next week or the week after that to Berkey. But if we win and we keep progressing the U.S. Open Cup, let's make that Ben Lund. It's a way for us to still see him, it's a thing for him to contribute to regularly, and he could be a hero for us.
Yeah, I actually like that a lot. When I saw this, I was like, oh, you're not going to go with Oliveras or one of the other backups that we have. But I like that because he knows that the time's coming. And I think this is, it's not like an ode to him, but it's like a thank you. Like you've done not incredible. You've done pretty solid for us with Berkey being out. And I think to your point, Jake, it's like he doesn't just need to go to the bench after this. Like if we win this game, we're still going to be in like, what is it, like the quarterfinals?
Yeah.
The US Open Cup then? Like we don't need to be throwing Berkey back in net there. So I would like to see him there for a couple more games.
Yeah, at least give him this. I think it's worth giving it. I'm sure he'd want to play if it was up to him.
Jake, you know what else we could do? The Hoffman brothers starting 11.
God, I love me some Hoffman brothers starting 11. It's not often we double dip here, Justin, but it's worth it today. All right, let's turn the page. San Diego. I'm gonna again start from the top. I'm going to go back to Klaus, and here's my thing. I'm going to go back to Toy Shirt as well, but who fills that other spot? I put Celio in there. Honestly, Justin, I'm thinking it's one of whoever Celio or Silva plays the best in the U.S. Open Cup game. If they both start, that person should have a chance to compete for minutes in this next match, in my opinion.
What are your thoughts on, okay, they're going to compete the best. I would assume, let's hope that this game gets out of hand early for us in a good way. Because I don't think these guys are going full 90 between Celio and Silva and then starting again on Saturday.
For sure.
So I think it would have to be more of a tactical decision by Olaf on in-game management and pulling one of those guys a little bit earlier. Because I could see them going like 60 minutes if they're planning to start one of them on Saturday.
Right.
I'm cool with that.
How about the midfield, Justin? I mean, I wanted to rest, by the way. I wanted to rest Wallum in the U.S. Open Cup game. I'm sorry. I don't have anyone else that can play that position. And I don't think you can just take your foot off the gas entirely. You know what he brings to the table. I think if you give him a guaranteed half, get us off on the right foot, man. He's so much quality, so much more than what he'll face. I think he's a guy that can lift us early in the game.
Yeah, JT did put a comment in here, and then I saw this as well, but it's good to know. Reed did play on Sunday for City 2. I just don't know if, again, on an injury, I don't know if you're going to play him on a Sunday and then a Wednesday. That seems like a lot. It seems like he might be getting ready to come back, but why push it for this game? So I agree with you. We probably need to stick with Wallum at that point.
Yeah. So Wallum sticks around in both 11s for me. He's one of the few. And then I have Hartel and Leuven anchoring our midfield. And so Leuven probably dropping a little more deep and having Hartel go forward as much as he can. And then I do go back to Watts on the right. Again, we're not ready for Totland. If Joey Zielinski puts in a performance at right back or right wing back on U.S. Open Cup game, wouldn't that be great to see him make a run there and get some minutes? It's there to be won. I'm going to Watts because I don't know what the alternative is at this point, and I don't want it to be Kyle Hebert.
Yeah, I can't even think right now on like what else we would do unless you would like put Wallem on the right and then you try to throw like Joyner at the left. But we always talk to Mike about this. Mike yells at me, Chat City Taxis can't put forwards in defense. Like otherwise I'd put Ostrak back there. I don't care. Put Celio at right back for all I care. I don't want to see any more Watts on the field, but I don't know who else goes there.
Yeah. Agreed. So my back three is who I would go with, at least knowing or considering health in this. Assuming the other game goes okay, I didn't even update this, Justin, so we can just talk about it live. Horn returns to left center back. I believe one of probably Baumgartel or Nilsson obviously return, if not both. Maybe Nilsson in the middle and Baumgartel outright. I think that would be the strongest three that I could think about.
Yeah, I mean, the strongest three would be a Horn, Nilsson, Baumgartel. But honestly, I did not appreciate Nilsson's minutes that just happened in Seattle. But I mentioned it earlier, Jake, this in-game management stuff. I don't really understand throwing a center back into the game 70 minutes in when we're up one. So that is just a difficult spot. I've been there too many times. And like, what do you want me to do at this point, coach? Like, I'm not fresh. Right. I mean, Nilsson's definitely not stretched out for any means. That man has no hamstrings left, and he just gets dunced. So like, and maybe that was too short-sighted to me, but I just don't see it in him right now. But I think the strongest what we'd have right now without Kessler would be Horn, Nilsson, Baumgartel. And in putting Nilsson in the middle to help protect him, because God knows if we throw him as one of the right or left center backs, he's getting hung out to dry.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, goals time, goals and predictions for these matches, Justin. For the U.S. Open Cup game, I really have a simple one. I don't want this to become dramatic for us. I want this to be a day in the office, and that is not implying that it'll be easy, but we should know what we're running up against here. Let's not create drama and the atmosphere. Let's come in. Let's do our job. We have a deeper squad than these guys. We need a performance. Give us 90 minutes, get the good vibes, get the goals, and get everything flowing.
I like that. I think that's a perfect one because I don't want no drama is exactly it. One, it's a Wednesday night. I can't do the stress again that I just had to go through with the Blues on Sunday. Just give me something that's very calm, very easy. Let's put one away in the first 30 minutes. Let's try to get another one before half. Let's get a third one early in second half, and let's take some boys out. Let's get some young guys in, and let's just have some fun.
Yeah, agreed. So my prediction for the U.S. Open Cup game, 3-0. 3-0 W for the boys. Justin, yours?
I'm going 2-0. I just think that, one, we're having a hard time. I would love to see 3 goals, but I've seen the way that they've been doing this lineup of 5 in the back with 4 in front and 1 on top of that, and it just seems a little tight. And obviously I know that we're not going to be bringing the full stars there out of us. But then again, maybe if we go back and look at the first time they played these guys, some of these guys are just hungrier when we put in some of these guys. If you have a Silva, Celio, and Betcher up top, who knows? They could drop 6 goals on this team. So I would love that, but I'm going to be conservative and go 2-0.
San Diego, my goal for the team is you've got to really watch Luca De La Torre. We didn't talk about him in the players, but he dog-walked a lot of our team in that San Diego game. You've got to be tight on him all match. You got to disrupt him. If you disrupt him, I think you disrupt the team. And my second is we've got to be very clinical. They have a good defense. They have a great offense. You've got to take your 1, 2, maybe 3 chances. 1 or 2 of those have got to hit the back of the nets. We've got to be ruthless on those slim chances that we will get.
Yeah, on this one for San Diego, and my biggest one here, Jake, is, and I know I've said it plenty of times this season, I would love to see us score first, but I would like to just hold this team to 1 goal. I think right now, if we're kind of limping into this game, we're still not fully back. We have a midweek game that's, yes, I know we're not going to throw all the starters at, but it's still a lot on the guys to get through those legs. If we can just keep them to 1 goal, I think we're going to get at least a goal ourselves at City Park. And we're going to get out of there with at least a point. I would love 3. So my prediction is actually a 2-1 dub. Is holding them to 1 goal in this game.
I've got a 2-2 draw. And here's why I'm bummed, Justin. I texted you this earlier today. I was doing some research. City is yet to score from a losing position this season. We have 0 points exactly when we have been in a losing position in a game. So the deal with us right now is objectively, if we go down, we're done as a team. And if we go up, of the last 5 matches, the most we can get is 1 point. We're blowing leads when we have them. It's been a really difficult stretch, and we're going to have to be ruthless. And that means error free. You've got to be clean because the goals are hard to come by. That means we can't go down in matches. So that we need to get that going, right? And maybe it's guys coming back down to earth. We get more continuity in the team, but the goals are going to relieve a lot of things, and it's not just attacking.
Jake, I never really kind of put it together until you just circled it and kind of brought it all together there. But I keep saying score first. I never realized that if we don't, we're screwed. If we don't score first, we have not scored a goal. And that, making that very clear for everybody. Jake texted me this earlier. He's like, yeah, we haven't gotten any points this season after another team scored. And I'm like, no points or no scoring? He's like, both. We have not scored a single goal if we go down in a game, which is just absolutely absurd to me and kind of brings into question, which will kind of leave some question marks. Maybe we'll throw some stuff on the socials, but like a little bit to do with in-game management.
Yeah.
Get to do with injuries because, we go down a goal and he looks at the bench. He's like, nah. But I don't know.
And I want to bring us to the end here, Justin, just say a lot of people are looking for where or who to blame. And I think blame should be shared all around. And I think we've dealt with our bit of misfortune with the injuries. Some of them I also think we could probably do better to prevent. So when we think about where to point the finger, again, I really feel like there's shared blame here. I'm not ready to write off Olaf Melberg yet. I want him to get a legitimate shot to show us what he can do with given some time and given overall health, to a certain point, and see what he can do. But you also do have to look at him and say, we need to be competitive, even without those guys. We cannot be making these mistakes. We can't mismanage games. And some of that comes down to him. Some of the players who, Justin, you and I hold accountable as well. So everyone shares or shoulders a little bit of the load. I don't want anyone to think it's just like one person's fault. And if you do that, the problem's all fixed.
Right, exactly. I think everybody's kind of forgetting when we started the first 4 games this season without giving up a goal. People are like, "Oh my God, this Olaf guy is the man." And now we've played 6 more games since, and it's like I need Olaf's head. So no, I mean if you look at it, it's a lot of the personnel, and that we just haven't been there. Hopefully healthy. I would say that there's definitely some in-game management that I would change as well. But hey, we're moving through it. It's a long season. We say it every episode. Hopefully, I mean it's going to get shorter if I keep saying this every episode. But yeah, we're in May now. But guess what? We still have to the end of October. And then we could hopefully be playing in December if we get lucky. So I know it feels like we are underdogs at this point, but that's probably because we are. So if you don't already, you need to sign up for Underdog using code BALLWATCHING. You can make your first deposit and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdog is the place to play when you are a fan looking to cash in on your favorite athletes' performances. And we'll be throwing together an Underdog entry for this Saturday's game versus San Diego. I don't even know if I don't know if a lot of places even allow us to make entries or any kind of wagers or anything on the U.S. Open Cup. We'll have to look at that.
Yeah, for some reason I doubt it, but we'll obviously create an entry here for the San Diego match. And just I wanted to say, one of our listeners, Steven, reached out to us and said, I have a question that I'll pose to you here second, but he said that he had signed up for Underdog and had some fun watching the Blues last night when they were still in the playoffs. So we got a happy, loyal listener who's using the product, which is great. But Justin, his original question for me was, hey, why does Justin call everyone Mister? I'm legitimately curious. So I wanted to put you on the spot here and ask if you had any response to the Mr. Gate.
Who else do I call Mr.? Mr.
I do notice you said, like Mr. Nelson.
Oh, Mr. Nilsson. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like these guys, like those guys professionals. I don't know if they were talking about when I did the Mr. Koenig thing and we were doing the that's just because I grew up that way. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to thank my mother for that one. I'd like to just be a little bit more respectful. Go with a Mr. and a Mrs.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know why I call Nilsson. Is Nilsson younger than me? He probably is.
I don't know. No, Nilsson is not a specific one. I think you just use it sometimes when you refer to people in a funny
way. Yeah. Mr.
Mr.
Celio Pompeo. Yeah. Now I do see it.
So Steven, you're vindicated. Justin now knows that he does it. And he wanted to know why. But we got a nice little sign up there for Underdog. Again, use the promo code BALLWATCHING and give it a shot. See if you like it. I've been having some fun making some entries for Champions League. Obviously, we'll do them for a city match I wish we had some Blues to add to that entry with some nice picks, but we're out of that. But you can still do Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs. All those player props are all there in Underdog.
And those flaming hot Cardinals, man, that
Mm.
that stadium's rocking as well. So make sure you include them on your Underdog entry.
There you go. There you go. Well, Justin, that brings us to a wrap for the day. We may have a special little thing coming out this week that could brighten everyone, give everyone a little bit of a weekend bump that we're thinking about releasing to you all. So stay tuned. You could see us twice in a very different way in the second one. Hint, hint.
Speaking of a little bump, couple beers and a little bump. Mainly on the couple of beer side, but funny commercial. Get to the pitch. If you haven't been to the pitch, I don't know what you're doing. You try to go tomorrow night, and if you're not going tomorrow night, go Saturday night. And then we're going to be there definitely that next Wednesday for the Kansas City game. Then we got some day games coming up, Jake. I need to just bring my cot back into the pitch because I love it so much. If you haven't been there, it's going to start to heat up. Get a frozen Irish coffee. And if you want to go for a little Saturday morning footy as well, go there and get just a regular Irish coffee. The place is phenomenal. So get down to the pitch.
Love it. Well, Justin, have a great rest of your week, man. I will see you obviously tomorrow, and then we'll go again on the weekend. It's going to be a blast. Anyway, all for City.
All for City.